Well, we wake up this morning to fears of potential nuclear disaster developing in Japan after a third reactor explosion. Japanese officials are warning of a health risk for anyone within about 20 miles of the disabled plant. Now, that is raising questions about the safety of nuclear plants across the United States, and especially here in Illinois.
And this morning we welcome Dave Kraft, Director of the Chicago-based Nuclear Energy Information Service. Thank you so much for coming in this morning, Dave.
You're welcome.
First of all, if you can explain to us a little bit more about what is happening in Japan. We keep hearing about these explosions, and my question to you is, why can't they just shut it down? But you said it's not that simple.
It's not that simple at all, right? The three reactors that were in operation, there were three that were closed, they weren't operating, and three that were in operation when the tsunami hit. When you shut down a reactor, there's a lot of residual heat that stays in there for days. And that has to be dissipated somehow because the temperatures and pressures are so hot in that environment that you will start damaging the core. And this is exactly what's been happening. They were not able to circulate cooling water because they lost on-site power because of the tsunami. The lines were down, their diesel generators failed, they had to bring in batteries. All the systems that they counted on failed. And as a result, there was no water to remove that heat. The heat built up, created pressure. The pressure was such that they couldn't force more water in. Okay. So you had this runaway thing. They couldn't cool it. The hydrogen gas bubble built up because the temperatures were splitting the water molecules, and then something ignited it. Those were the explosions you saw. Blew off the roof on reactor 1 on Saturday, reactor 3 on Sunday. Then there was a third explosion. I can't keep up with the accident because on the way over here I got accounts from our people who are in Japan. And this is what I've been talking about from day one, is what you don't hear about. There's a glorified swimming pool there called a spent fuel pool, which has all of the old radioactive waste from the reactor from day one stored there. Okay? And we have these in our reactors in Illinois as well, with no place to go. They're on site. That also needs circulating water. And I just got an account this morning that they have observed a fire in reactor number 4, which was one of the shutdown reactors. I don't know what's going on, but we were much more concerned about the fire in the spent fuel pools because there's 5 to 10 times more radiation stored in those pools than in the reactors.
So what could, theoretically, I mean, this is like a hodgepodge of things that could go wrong in Japan based on this, but here in Illinois, we have so many reactors here. Could this kind of thing possibly? We're on the New Madrid Fault.
Yeah, there's a combination of things which caught my attention immediately. The first is we have 4 reactors of the exact same design operating in Illinois. 2 near Morris, Illinois at the Dresden facility, 2 on the Mississippi River at Quad Cities. They're old, they're from the late 60s, early 70s, and they have the same kind of design flaws that the Japanese are experiencing. Now, we don't have tsunamis, but as you pointed out, 200 years ago this December is the anniversary of the New Madrid Fault. So we do have seismic activity. In fact, just a few years ago in LaSalle County, there was a 4-point-something earthquake, which people speculate shook loose some of the Dresden components. So this is not something that you just disregard. The other thing we have that they don't have is the world's busiest airport, or second busiest airport, which is 11 minutes away from Dresden and 27 minutes away from Quad Cities. If you accidentally ram a 747 jet into these facilities and cut off the cooling water, you can have the same kind of situation without a tsunami. You don't need it. So this is what we're concerned about.
We need to relook at the safety of our nuclear plants as well.
Now the health situation, I know, is something that you were concerned about. 3 days ago, they were getting reports to the public was saying, don't worry, it's under control, it's on site. The numbers they were giving out that they weren't emphasizing were on the order of 300 chest x-rays per hour. That's like 10 mammograms an hour on the reactor site. The situation is worse now because they've actually lost control of one of the reactors, which is in a state of meltdown, which means more radioactive materials will be distributed.
Oh, it's scary.
There is so much to understand.
Sorry about
this,
that. I'm a kiss of death on these shows. I always bring bad news. I'm
sorry. Well,
we appreciate the explanation.
We need information. We appreciate
absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave. Again, Dave Kraft is the Director of the Nuclear Energy Information Service, based right here, right?
Chicago.
Thank you, Dave.